Are we teasing this thing?
Sure.
Are we teasing?
Sure.
All right, on a completely separate note, but you'll probably see it in a future video. We got my old daily driver that is blown apart for some maintenance work right now. And so I got the 12 valve over here in the corner. So the 12 valve was leaking a little bit, as the 12 valve does, everywhere on the top and everywhere on the side, and the head gasket was leaking a little bit, so we took it out to do the head gasket job, but it's currently in the snowball phase, and it's probably going to get a second spoolie boy, like right about here, and like 60 or 70 pounds boost. So yeah, we have an event planned in the summer with one of our buddies, and I bet him, I think, a Tim Hortons coffee that I could build more, or I could make more power on the dyno than him, and we're gonna make that happen. So anyways, oh yeah, and beat him in a drag race with my 7,000 pound truck. So all right, anyways, back onto the real thing at hand here, the Challenger. So as teased from last video, is the tunnel actually done? It is! So everything you see here is now welded in for good. We've got floor pans welded in, well, everything except the back here, which I think I'm gonna change now. And then the middle tunnel, everything's done, metal finished out. So the only thing that we gotta do yet is cut the hole for the shifter. And yeah, then this portion of it is done. Everything's tied together. It's like nice and strong. So a little bit to do on the firewall yet, but that's no big deal. And then today, we're actually test fitting and building the inner wheel, like figuring out what our inner wheel tub shape is gonna be. I got it pretty well dialed in, but we just wanna make sure. So the big thing about this car, this customer's got another car that was mini tubbed, but I haven't actually verified this yet, but he says that the way they did the mini tubs, it interferes with the convertible top, the way it comes down, so the convertible top kind of bunches up and doesn't go down all the way. So that was a big concern for him, and we just don't want to make the same mistake twice. And this car, we're basically keeping the wheel tubs the same height as the stock, the highest part of the stock ones, which will give us enough clearance for our tire in the wheel well here. The biggest thing is we got to square it off. So right now the wheel tub kind of goes like this, and the wheel interferes on this inside lip. So what we're doing is building new inners where the wheel tubs are going to be up, have a radius in the corner, and then squared off on top, so we can really stuff the tire up. Because at full compression, our tire is going to be like here, within 3/8 or whatever of the top of the wheel tub. So yeah, I don't know if our little teaser short came out yet, but we got something planned for this that we didn't anticipate doing about a month ago, but came across some parts that we couldn't find, and this whole area on the outside is going to be changed. I'm doing my best Wheel of Fortune. Anyways, so yeah, we'll get into building it today. I got, basically this is my practice round on the wheel tub. I'll show you here what we're gonna be doing. And then not really big progress, just more of a, I don't know, tech tip, I guess, or whatever, kind of how we do things here. But this is my practice inner tub. This one is actually too big, so I made this thing too tall. So that's why we're not using this. And then this is more just figuring out bead layout, figuring out how to make it flat, stuff like that. So this thing starts off as a flat pattern here. This is all drawn on CAD and then printed off on a plotter so that we have the radiuses and everything. Make a template. Template's easy to do both sides then. Get our arch shape, because our arch shape's not round, it's round and then flattens off and then rounds off again. So, and then this section meets our frame rail. So on this piece, I wasn't really overly happy with the bead layout, but so we're gonna be changing that. But yeah, all we did here is this edge. So what I've seen a lot of guys do is they'll roll this edge over and then they'll roll a similar edge. So this thing only rolls like 45 degrees, and this is using the Covell dies on the radius dies on the Mittler Brothers bead roller. So then you put a weld basically down the middle of this radius, and then that'll help with warpage and stuff. So we're gonna try that out. I haven't tried that before. This is a new way of doing it. I'd really like to roll it full 90, but I don't have the right dies for that. So okay, this is kind of the best tool for the job here. This is the Makita shear. I was turned on to this by, I think what's his name, Carl Fisher there, Make It Custom out in Kelowna. And a lot of other guys use this tool. So this is probably the best thing you could buy to do something like this, to do curves inside and outside of a panel. And what it allows you to do is like scribe a line and nail that line every time after you get good at it. This thing likes to walk around, so you gotta be the boss of it. But anyways, with a little bit of practice, you can get pretty good. So basically, the best way to do it with these shears is shear the big majority of the chunk off, like I already did here, and then leave about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of the metal to your line, and then cut that, because you can see here on the cutoffs, on the bigger chunks, like it wants to curl it, and then it'll curl the metal itself. Like you can see here, like you've got pressure, and that's because it wants to curl both sides as it's shearing one away. So if you cut the majority of the chunk off, and then when you go back, you can see how when the shear pushes down, it like makes this curl. That actually takes out the remaining of the pressure, because the part that's deformed right now is right along this edge. So that's just a good tech tip when you're using this, is just cut most of it away and then go back for the fine tuning. It works on any other panel too, like if you're working on like a fender or whatever, same deal. So yeah, we'll continue on here. I don't know, you've seen the bead roller a couple of times already on the channel, but yeah, we're just gonna bead roll these. So the reason I chose these step dies, this is the inner wheel tub. I think we already went over that. But anyways, this is the inner wheel. We don't wanna use the heavy step on this just because it's not needed. It's not really, this is more just like to fill this space and add some structure to it. So we're just gonna use the light step. I don't know what this is, 1/8, I think, step dies. So the ones that I don't like using because I can't see the line properly. But anyways, I need some practice, so here we go. 1, 2, always count your turns. And screw that, I'm going 2.5. There we go, 2.5. This is gonna be a big boy. Should look okay. So you see here, this is what happens when you don't pre-stretch and then you really crank down on the wheel. So we kind of bananaed this bad boy, but I think we're gonna be okay, because this edge is gonna be going onto the frame, so this is already just guaranteed to be straight. And then this edge is getting rolled, and then we're gonna shrink it anyways. So this is just caused because basically when you step this piece up, you're shrinking along this line, so everything in the middle here is kind of pulling, so there's too much material along this edge. But when we roll it over, we'll use the shrinker and then we'll be able to get this flat again. So let's continue. Okay, so now you can see here we have 3 different ways that this thing lays on the table. We have the flat like it's supposed to be. And then you have the post bead rolling banana. And then you have the post radius die banana. So this happens because it's just like tipping a flange. You have the material that you're folding over here, and when you fold over on an edge, you actually have to gather it as it gets tighter. So right now, all that happened was it didn't gather, this just formed it. This didn't do any stretching or shrinking. So now we're gonna take this over to the shrinker setup, and actually from about here to here, we're gonna give it small kinks all the way along this edge, or small kicks on the shrinker, and then it's gonna gather the material along the edge and actually bring this down. We'll do that on every radius in this panel. So, over there.
3 days later.
Okay, so
Start from the top.
oh shit, it's still recording. Okay, so we made a change on here after I ruined the other ones, the other versions, I guess. But so let me go through our decision making here, because I ruined them for more than one reason. After I put them on there, I realized I didn't like how the step went in when you're looking from the outside, because if you come over here, I'll show you the reasoning behind that. All of the rolls, or all the patterns on the inside of the car step out, and that includes like the kick panels over there, the firewall, everything steps out, and it just would not have flowed, in my opinion, kind of the same, even though it's a panel that you'll probably never see, along with a lot of other panels that I'm too anal about. But yeah, that was the decision made there. So this is all changed. I just got to roll the edge on it. That I'm gonna do off camera, because we're not working on that anymore. Because I got to cut a few more things out. This was more just figuring out what is going to work and what's not going to work, and we clearly figured out what was not going to work. So this thing also, if you come over, oh shoot, where did I put it now? She's going down. I think Fall Out Boy has a song about that. It's Sugar, We're Going Down. Anyways, so this piece is our remade piece for the passenger side, and you can see here, when I lay it on the table, it's not a Pringle, and it mostly sits down. This is going to be way easier to work and roll that edge and make it like straight again than the last panel. I just overbared on the turny knob thingy on the bead roller. So lesson learned, 2 turns is the max you're going to get out of the 8th step die without absolutely ruining this 18 gauge panel. So this thing is pretty good. We're getting ready to roll the edge on it, and then yeah, like I said, it's gonna step in from the inside out. So yeah, anyways, this panel that's almost falling off the table now is our trunk pan starting like over the axle, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, let me tell you what we're gonna do on this thing. As you can see, there's clearly a part missing out of this, and that is the hump here where the drive shaft goes. So that's what we're going to be making right now, and that's the only way it's going to fit in the car. Right now it does not fit because the hump is in the way, and there's another cross member or whatever that I can't take out right now. But this thing goes over the hump. It will have our piece for the drive shaft and whatever. It's going to get welded in here on the sides. There's 2 wings inside the car. And then over top here, we haven't decided yet what our connection joint is going to be looking like with the back trunk pan, and if it's going to sink down or if it's going to be flat. So that is some problem for the later day. But yeah, as you can see, this just wraps around, and our wheel tub is actually going to follow this bottom shape here, lap over top of this. So it'll be all nice and sexy inside the wheel tubs. know what you want me to say. I'm making some piece for the car. Alright, so this is just the axle diff drive shaft. There we go, that's the right word. Drive shaft hoop extension into the rear tail pan area. Tail pan, not the tail pan, the floor. Anyways, this is my test piece here, dialing in my bends and everything. So this worked out perfectly. The bend locations, everything sits fine in the car. So we just transfer those marks over to the real piece, cut it out with the nice trimmer, and now we're gonna go bend it. And then you'll see where it goes because I really don't want to walk over there right now. Let's go. Okay, so we made some progress today. Obviously not as much as I would intended, but you know, stuff takes some time sometimes. But yeah, so this piece here that's been laying on the floor for the last, I don't know, month is finally back in the car. And we're getting there. It's close. Just got to weld these wings on yet. And then fully weld this hump over. And then we'll figure out where I'm going to splice in the back. And we're going to roll a drop flange, kind of like for a lap joint along the center there. It's going to be spot welded, similar to the way we did the firewall here. But yeah, you can see inside here, it's starting to look like a car. And that's great because it hasn't looked like this since I chopped all that stuff out like 4 months ago. But anyways, just want to say this has been a pretty long video. So if you made it this far, I want to thank you guys for watching. And just remember, if you learn anything today or you like the content, just like the video, comment on the video if you got any questions, and drop us a subscribe. If you want to keep seeing this content. Just want to say thank you very much again, and we'll see you in the next one.